What is going on, everybody? So today I want to have a conversation, more of a philosophical one, about why Pokemon is taking off and why I am still very bullish on Pokemon going into the future, no matter what they do in the short term. But before we get into that, I'll give you guys a little bit of the XY update. For you guys that have the spreadsheet, you'll be able to see everything, but I'll give you guys a teaser if you're not in there. XY base lowest listed right now, $3,100. There's one box below 3720, which is this listing right here. There were 3 sales this month for an average of $2,918.33. Roaring Skies, another one that was up this month on average sale price. 4 boxes listed below 1907. 15 sales, and I actually changed it for X, Y, and Sun and Moon going forward. I am going to include auctions. You guys already know for X, Y, it is worldwide as well. I'm just trying to capture as many sales as possible because when we get into X, Y, and even vintage stuff, there really is not a lot moving, especially in North America. When you look at like Australia, Europe, Asia, other parts of the world, there are a lot more sales. So it is relevant when we look at this older stuff there. But 15 total sales, average price 1705.62. Steam Siege, this is funny. So Steam Siege lowest listed right now, $800, 20% leg up would be $960. 2 boxes below that price. 12 sales the past 28 days for Steam Siege booster boxes. And get this, the average sale price was $839.75. Steam Siege, of all the sets in the world, is now a legit $800 booster box. I don't know, to me it's such a meme, but it is kind of funny to see that this is happening in real time. And I'll give you guys one more update here too, because this was the first month I did add in the Generations ETB and also Double Crisis. I don't think there's actually an ETB or anything for Double Crisis. It's just those 2-pack blisters and then loose packs on eBay. That's all I could find. So the 2-pack lowest listed $1,385. 20% leg up would be $1,561. Only that one 2-pack listed below there. 7 sales over the past 28 days. Average sale price $969.97 there. So there's a little bit of the XY update. If you're in the spreadsheet, you can see the rest of it. It is finished already. But the conversation today that I wanted to have, I just watched Philip Collectibles' video, and I haven't really talked to Philip ever, but I watched this video and I thought it was pretty interesting actually. He's trying to figure out why Pokemon cards in general are just outperforming a lot of traditional investments right now. And he talks a lot about physical ownership of goods and how that's really important. He kind of refers to how gaming right now and a lot of things are just becoming more digitized. You're not actually getting physical copies of games or anything. So also just the fact that home ownership, he touches on that, like kind of Klaus Schwab's quote for a little bit in there, the WEF quote where you'll own nothing and be happy. I think that's funny and kind of based that he threw that in there. But point being, Pokemon does offer you a way to have physical ownership of a good. And when you look at like the top 10 best investments over the past 100 years, there are some collectible items on the list. So it's not unheard of for collectibles to perform well. There is history of that. Obviously not Pokemon cards, but rare violins, fine wines. Lego, I think, is in like the top 10 investments over the past 100 years based on some lists. And I'm not saying that Pokemon's going to be a top 10 investment over the next 100 years, but it is clear to me it probably should be in the conversation. And it wouldn't surprise me if it does perform very well over the next 20, 30, 50 years. Who knows how long, right? Because a lot of people that grew up with Pokemon, they grew up with the anime, the TCG, they now have disposable income and they're willing to invest into rare boxes, into rare cards, kind of the same way people of maybe 50, 100 years ago wanted to invest in rare violins, in rare guitars, in fine wines. A lot of that stuff has kind of been lost on the younger generations and we're turning towards Pokemon, other collectibles. So I do think that is a very good point that Philip makes in this video, and I definitely agree with that. I would say the one thing that he's missing and that I think is very important in the conversation when we look at Pokemon investing and why a lot of these boxes are outperforming and why I think Pokemon over the next 5, 10 years, because I don't see this changing anytime soon, why it's going to be a very good investment is gambling. Because at the essence of what Pokemon is, you are gambling every time you open a booster pack. And it's unfortunate because in society nowadays, gambling is everywhere. Everyone's pushing gambling. I'll give you guys one example. I love Counter-Strike. I used to play, semi-competitively. I was never super, super good, but I enjoyed playing it. I still enjoy watching the top teams. if you guys have ever seen hltv.org before, this is like the main page for the professional scene. You can see like there is gambling ads everywhere. And if you're in this hobby, you know gambling's a huge thing. Case opening in CSGO, CS2 now, that's a massive thing as well. And it's just everywhere in society. When you watch a Twitch stream, and it's the same thing now in Pokemon with Whatnot, with your drip, even on YouTube, people buying packs from rip and shippers. In essence, all it is gambling. A lot of these people are very addicted to opening cards. And it's not like gambling is a new thing. Casinos have been around forever. People still go to casinos and play slots or blackjack, roulette, whatever it is. But I think that's something that Pokemon, and I'm not saying that Pokemon, the company developed trading cards as a way to get people addicted and make them gambling addicts. I'm not saying that is, but a byproduct of Pokemon has been gambling. And one thing that Pokemon has that's an advantage over a lot of other forms of gambling is even if you lose, you can still kind of win. So for example, if you opened an Evolving Skies booster box for $2,000, you would lose a lot of money more often than not. Even if you pull the Umbreon, you're probably still losing money. I don't know what a raw copy is going for at this point, but say you pull like a Glaceon VMAX or something, or you pull the Dragonite or another card like that, right? That's maybe $200, $300, $400. You might feel that you still won because you got an awesome rare card. And a lot of that ties back into ownership, which Philip brings up in this video, which I think is, again, a very important point that you should consider. But it's just that dopamine hit. People opening packs, they get a card, especially if it's a card they want. Like if you pull a chase card, you are going to continue opening packs in the future. It doesn't matter if you understand that it's irrational and that you are losing money. It really is an addiction for people. It's the same way that, people that take drugs, they drink, whatever bad habits and vices people have in life. Most people understand they're very bad things for them, but they just continue to do them anyways. And this is a conversation I have with so many people because I get this on the One Piece channel a lot as well. People really don't understand why people, like other people, consumers, would open up a booster box if they know that they're not going to get the value out of it. For example, if the top hits $100 and you're paying $1,000 for the box, like why would you open it? It just makes no sense. The reality is you have to think about it irrationally. You have to understand that most people, most consumers are rational, especially if they're buying this stuff to open and gamble. And I think an Evolving Skies booster box or Evolving Skies in general is a very good example of this. If you go to a non-TCG's Pokemon Destruction Tracker, whatever this is online, again, you can go check this out. Credit to him. Evolving Skies. Look how many estimated packs have been opened. 566 million packs. Again, I think he multiplies that by the raw number by 10 because he's only estimating about 10% of packs being graded. But either way, that's a lot of packs, whatever number you want to throw in there. And people don't really enjoy opening Evolving Skies, right? Another name for Evolving Skies was Evolving Cries because it was such a bad opening experience. And try and bring this conversation full circle to present day. What is a set right now that everybody's talking about that they say is a terrible opening experience that they do not enjoy? I think most people would say Prismatic Evolutions is not an enjoyable opening experience, but you have very expensive cards in there. You have the Umbreon, you have all the other evolutions, you have a God pack that you can potentially chase out of certain boxes or packs, right? Like that would be amazing. Could you imagine opening a God pack, the dopamine hit? You would be on a high for at least 3 minutes and 25 seconds. And unfortunately, I don't think gambling is going anywhere. It's like any other industry, the tobacco industry, the alcohol industry, whatever industry you can think of where people get addicted and you can sell them a product. It's not going anywhere, right? Like if you can monetize humans, the government's going to allow it. You're going to have lobbyists paying them hundreds of millions of dollars a year to make sure bills pass. That is just the reality of the world we live in, unfortunately, right now. So I don't think Pokemon, I don't think gambling, sure, rip and ship culture might change. It might evolve into something else. But fundamentally, I don't think it's going anywhere. And especially when you consider the fact, shout out to Philip again, that ownership of a physical product like Pokemon cards, as people move further and further away from being able to attain certain things in life. Home ownership, for example, for a lot of people is just not going to be a realistic thing. Even owning cars, we're going to get to a point where Governments are going to be banning the production of gas-powered vehicles. We're already getting to a point where it's too difficult for the average person to even work on their car. If you had an issue 50, 60 years ago, you'd just bring it to your garage and you'd work on it yourself. But nowadays, it's just too difficult and complicated with all these electronic systems in it. So a lot of things like home ownership, being able to own a car eventually for a lot of people, all these things are going to go away, and people are going to look for other avenues to replace that level of joy and fulfillment in their life. And for a lot of people, it's going to be owning certain collectibles like Pokemon cards, maybe other trading cards, or any other small collectible item that you can think of. But that is just my opinion. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think. Again, if you're in the spreadsheet, go check out XY. It's all done from today. Also, shout out to Philip. You guys should go watch the video and definitely check his stuff out. And then shout out to Anon. I used his destruction tracker thing here, which I think is a great tool, and it's free to check out. So it's really important to look at that, in my opinion. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.